Picture this. You're lying in bed, it's 2 a.m., and you hear a faint click from your front door. You reach for your phone, tap the app you paid $300 for, and nothing. A spinning circle of death.
Server connection failed. Please check your internet. But your internet is fine. The problem isn't your router. The problem is that a CEO 5,000 miles away just decided your front door lock is no longer a security device. It's a paperweight.
Welcome to the $160 billion smart home industry. An industry built on a lie. They sold you convenience, but what they actually sold you was digital serfdom. You bought the hardware, you paid for the installation, but you don't own a single bit of the code that makes it work. You are a tenant in your own home, paying rent for the privilege of turning on your own lights. But right now, while big tech tries to lock the gates, a small underground movement of DIY builders is using a tiny $35 UK-made chip to tear those walls down. And what they've discovered is a secret the industry has spent billions trying to hide. This year, the global smart home market will hit $160 billion. By 2030, that number is expected to triple. We are living in the future we were promised, a world where our coffee is ready when we wake up, where our thermostats know our favorite temperature, and where our cameras watch over our children. But here is the part nobody talks about. Almost every single one of those devices is a ticking time bomb. Think about your kitchen. Your smart fridge, your light bulbs, your vacuum. To you, they are tools. To companies like Amazon, Google, and Samsung, they are data vacuum cleaners. They aren't selling you a light bulb, they're selling a window into your private life. They know when you're home, when you're sleeping, and even what brand of milk you prefer. But it goes deeper than privacy. It's about control. You see, most smart devices rely on the cloud. That's just a fancy word for someone else's computer. When you tap a button on your phone to turn on a lamp, that signal doesn't go to the lamp. It travels across the ocean to a server farm in Virginia or Ireland, gets processed, and travels all the way back. If that server goes down, or if the company decides it's not profitable to keep it running, your smart home becomes a very expensive museum of obsolete plastic. This isn't a conspiracy theory. It's already happened. But to understand how we got here, we have to look at the great enclosure of the digital age. In the beginning, smart homes were for nerds. You needed wires, servers, and a degree in computer science. Then came the hub. The promise was simple: one box to rule them all. Nest, founded by the father of the iPod, Tony Fadell, was the darling of this movement. They made thermostats sexy. They made them smart. Then, in 2014, Google bought Nest for $3.2 billion, and that's when the rules of the game changed forever. Suddenly, it wasn't about the hardware anymore. It was about the ecosystem. But here is where it gets worse. In 2016, Google-owned Nest decided to shut down a service called Revolve. Revolve was a $300 hub that controlled hundreds of devices. One day, it worked. The next day, Google pushed a software update that literally disabled the hardware. They didn't just stop supporting it. They bricked it. They reached into people's living rooms and broke their property. And they did it because they could. This was the first shot in the war for your home. The message was clear. You don't own what you buy. You're just licensing it until they decide you aren't. Now, this changes everything, because once you realize your home is dependent on a subscription, you realize how vulnerable you are. Take a look at the modern smart security camera. Most of them won't even record a clip longer than 10 seconds unless you pay $5, $10, or $20 a month. You bought the lens, you bought the sensor, but the brain is locked behind a paywall. But why? Why are we letting this happen? The answer is the walled garden. Companies like Apple, Amazon, and Google want to make sure their devices only talk to each other. They want to trap you. If you have 5 Alexa speakers, you're much less likely to buy a Google thermostat.
They're building moats around your living room. And for a long time, we thought there was no way out. We thought we were stuck with planned obsolescence as a service. But here's the part they didn't see coming. This is a Raspberry Pi. It's a tiny $35 computer designed in the UK to teach kids how to code. It doesn't look like much. No sleek white plastic, no glowing LED rings, no celebrity endorsements. But in the hands of a growing underground movement, this device is a weapon. It is the heart of something called Home Assistant. Home Assistant is an open-source operating system that does something big tech hates. It talks to everything. It doesn't care if your bulb is from IKEA, your switch is from Lutron, or your vacuum is from Xiaomi. It brings them all under one roof. But more importantly, it is entirely local. When you use a system like this, your data never leaves your four walls. If your internet goes out, your lights still work. If the company that made your smart lock goes bankrupt tomorrow, it doesn't matter. The code is running on your $35 chip in your closet under your control. This is local control, and it is the ultimate act of digital rebellion. But here's where the story takes a darker turn. You see, the industry realized that if people could control their own devices, the data mining business model would collapse. So they introduced a new standard called Matter. They marketed it as the ultimate solution for interoperability. Finally, they said, all your devices will work together. But there's a catch. This is the part nobody talks about. While Matter makes it easier for devices to talk to each other, it also makes it easier for the big three to consolidate their power. It's a Trojan horse. By standardizing the language of the smart home, they are making it even harder for small, independent companies to compete. You have to pay tens of thousands of dollars in certification fees just to say your device is Matter compatible. It's a pay-to-play scheme designed to keep the DIY builders and the small innovators out. They aren't opening the garden gates. They're just making the walls higher and painting them a friendlier color. Now, this leads us to a terrifying question. What happens when your home is smarter than you are? We are moving toward a world where smart means conditional. Your insurance company could offer you a discount if you install smart water sensors, but then use that data to deny a claim because you didn't fix a leak within 10 minutes of a notification. Your smart fridge could report your eating habits to your health provider. This isn't science fiction. The patents for these systems already exist. The $160 billion industry isn't selling you gadgets. They are selling a system of surveillance and dependency. They want a world where you never stop paying. A world where ownership is a legacy concept, like floppy disks or dial-up internet. They want to turn the most private place on Earth, your home, into a recurring revenue stream. But they underestimated the power of the $35 chip. Right now, thousands of people are declouding their lives. They are ripping out the proprietary hubs and replacing them with local servers. They are using Zigbee and Z-Wave, radio protocols that don't need the internet to function. They are taking back the brain of their home. This underground movement is proving that we don't need the billion-dollar walled gardens. We don't need to trade our privacy for the ability to dim the lights. We don't need to ask permission from a server in Virginia to lock our front doors. But the window for this rebellion is closing. Every year, hardware becomes more locked down. Every year, encrypted chips make it harder for you to run your own software on the things you bought and paid for. So where does this leave us? We are at a crossroads of digital sovereignty. If you can't control it, you don't own it. And if you don't own it, you are not the customer. You are the product. The war for your home has already begun. The only question is, who holds the key?